Yes, good morning. Our next segment will be on fire inspection and safety. And these two individuals are from that division, from the Building and Enforcement Services. And we're going to talk about what they do here for the city of Deltona. How you doing, Lisa? Thank you for coming.
Good, Danny. Thank you for having us.
Mike, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Can you tell us what you do?
We basically do annual inspections. We do commercial, we do residential inspections, business tax receipts. We do commercial and residential. Residentials, Mike does.
We do go out. We get building licenses, and we go out and do inspections for the building for people for our starting companies. And we do inspections. We check their fire extinguishers, and we check their electrical panel and their smoke detectors to make sure they work.
With residential, it's like if somebody has a business out of the house.
Right. They're applied for a business license,
Okay.
so they can operate in the city of Deltona, which they're also required to have a Volusia County license, and it requires a fire inspection report.
Okay.
And I go out there, do an inspection, and it takes a couple minutes, and then I sign off for it's passed or not passed, and once they comply, they get the license with you within a week.
Oh. Do they have to get the Volusia County license first before they get the city one?
You get the city first, and
city
then
first,
they give
okay.
you, the city has a BIN number, which is up on the paperwork, and they go on the Volusia County website and use that BIN number, and that will get you through their process. They have a fee. You pay the fee. They mail the license directly to you. Okay. And when you comply with the city of Deltona, they also send you the license, but you pay in advance with the city of Deltona.
Yeah, this is good to know. Your division just been added to the rest of our little department, so it's good to know because I'm out there. Somebody asks me a question or two, I'm like, okay, I just started reading up on the information, some of the things that y'all do, and it's great. A lot of information on there. That one website, which I would love to mention, which is www.nfpa.org. A lot of information on there with a lot of things on safety around the house, the property, and other issues also. Great.
Well, some of the things that we do in safety is we would like to require everybody would be nice to have a fire extinguisher in our house for safety. And we require a 3A 40BC for people that have fire extinguishers.
What is that now?
That's the size.
Somebody that don't know what you mean.
That's the size of a fire extinguisher.
Okay.
Okay, that tells you what, and it takes it's a 5-pound extinguisher, and the operation procedures. You got to remember the word pass. P is to pull the pin. A is to aim. S is to sweep, and the other one is squeeze. And let's say if you had like a grease fire, you don't want to shoot straight in on a grease fire. You want to hit the edge of the container, because if you hit straight on, it's kind of a straight stream or like a garden hose kind of where it's nice and hard. It will splash out. Okay. So if you shoot the nozzle at the side of the container, it will drift across and it will smother the fire eventually.
Right. So this particular fire extinguisher is basically meant for the kitchen.
Kitchen. It also will take care of like papers and cloth and a little bit of electric.
Okay, definitely that'd be the one I want, because
Right.
from my understanding, simple fires at home is not simple, but common fires is from the kitchen, from the stove or microwave. Is that correct?
Kitchen,
Right.
microwave,
One thing,
and
since
dryer.
we're talking about kitchens, I don't mean to interrupt in
No,
front of
that's
everybody,
okay.
is that if you have a grease fire on your stove and you have grease in the pot, one thing you will never want to do is take that pot hot, especially with a fire in it, and move it to the sink.
See, that's what I would think I would do if I saw that.
Because what's going to happen is most people have curtains on their window, and it catches the curtains on fire, and if you're don't have a fire extinguisher available, before you get something to put it out, you've already got the curtains. Now it's moving, and fire moves very fast. Next thing you know, you got a fully involved kitchen.
Right. It's very educational. I'm glad. I'd be the one that does that. And I got to tell my kids too. I have teenagers now that are starting to learn how to cook, and they're not as clean as my wife. So yeah, I see a little grease when I do go by the kitchen, and yeah, it's good to know.
And children should always cook supervised, not unsupervised, and always be in the kitchen when you're cooking. Don't ever leave your fire or cooking unattended. Always be in the area.
Another safety method you could use if you don't have a fire extinguisher is just put the lid back on the the
In
pot.
pots, the pans,
Or if you have baking soda.
baking soda.
You got to be careful with baking soda again because that'll splash if you throw in.
No.
So,
Okay. Anything else with cooking safety? That since we're covering that portion.
and turn off the power or the
Turn
power
off
or the
power,
heat.
Yeah, the electric.
Just anything with cooking. If you're going to cook, make sure you don't have any clothing that's long, hanging, that can touch the burner or get in the way of the fire. If you have a gas stove, always keep your handles turned in because you have younger children. If you have anybody that's younger, they should stay at least within a 3-foot distance from the stove and oven. So this way they're not touching, pulling, and distracting.
What is the issue with microwave? I didn't think it'd be. I would think it'd be the safest thing to use because mostly it's used all the time in my house. What would be a safety issues with the microwave?
Putting the proper utensils in. In other words, you don't put
Oh.
metal. You don't put metal in a microwave.
Right.
You definitely will have a reaction to that.
And when you're going to take things out of the microwave, they're very hot. The plates, the food's very hot. The way it warms up. If you have anything that's boiling water in there that you're cooking to warm up coffee, be very careful because sometimes when you go to pull it out, it has a tendency to boil over. So you can get a scalding or a burn from that.
And it has specifically products that are actually made for microwaves where they don't, like the handles, they won't get hot on you. Where if you put one that's not particularly made for, they'll get too hot and we go to grab the handle, it'll burn you.
Right.
So you have to have the proper utensil going in there.
Utensils, right? Some I know. I always check. I always tell my kids to check the bottoms of containers that are microwave safe.
Right.
Yes.
As when I was younger, I believe I was in the military and in the barracks. I had my own microwave. I think I used the wrong thing because next thing you know, I heard it was a pop. It was loud pop and a little small flame, and that microwave was done. So yeah, that was back in the day. But yeah, microwave safety, definitely need to check on that. What would you like to cover next? I see grilling.
Yes, there is grilling that we have. There is a small, short video that we have of a news reporter that's from ESPN that used her barbecue grill, and she didn't read the instructions that came along with the grill before using it. It's a very good video, and it kind of covers everything about when you should turn on your grill, if it doesn't light or if it blows out, to wait 15 minutes until everything dissipates because propane is very heavy. It kind of hangs down low. So if you have a spark, you're going to get a mini, not explosion, but a fireball kind of that comes. And you don't want to have children by your grill. You don't want to have them cooking because you have flames, you have the gas. You have to have the proper utensils to use. It would also be good to have an extinguisher near you too, just in case something goes out.
Some of the grills have automatic igniters, and some you have to take a lighter and light it. One thing you want to do is, first of all, when you turn on your gas, you don't want it to sit with the lid down. You open the lid and always ignite the fuel with the lid up, because otherwise there'll be too much fuel and ignite and it'll catch fire or it's going to blow the top off. Okay. Also, when you turn the equipment on, always check your regulator to make sure it's not leaking. In my younger days, I was a firefighter, and we had a regulator go bad for a gentleman, and it blew into his house and caught his house on fire. Wow. And placement of your barbecue is also very important.
I do notice a lot of people have it close up to the house, keep it away from the rain, and mine is it's like in the middle of my backyard.
It's a good thing not to put it in a patio. A lot of the apartment complexes require you to be 10 feet from the building. Of course, you want to have it level and not shaky when you're cooking with it, and just your general safety gamble. Like Lisa talked about with the cooking in the kitchen, is loose clothing and proper utensils and stuff like this. So.
Yeah. Also, too, before we go further into the residential fire safety, we also do have some other things for commercial businesses that we'd like to touch on for permitting. For new construction, if you're doing any type of new construction or if you're doing an existing building and you want to move in as a new business or new occupancy, it's best to come in to check with your business tax receipt office, your planning and zoning, and also at the Fire Safety Division, we do plan reviews to make sure that you will be fire safe, as well as the building department will also check also to make sure that you're in compliance with all the building and fire codes as well that are out today, nowadays. That
What
are
would
existing.
happen if they did not have that?
Well, first of
Well,
all,
basically, we would try to shut the business down just to make sure it's safe environment for a customer to come in.
Right. Well, we don't try and shut them down. We try and work with them to kind of lead them the right way. In other words, okay, we need to do this, and because we want to make sure that you're fire safety compliant, and for yourself, for your customers, as well as the other people that are next to you if you're in like a retail space.
when we do the business license, we come upon a business that did not have a license, we find a lot of times we find things that are not per code.
Per code.
And sometimes they get into a business where they're not what's the word? They're not allowed to be in the area due to zoning and planning, and they paid a lot of money for their rent, and now they can't actually open up.
Gotcha.
So that's why it's important when we come in. If you have stuff that's not permitted, it needs to be permitted because it's safety. If you put up a wall and it's not safe and it hurts somebody, then there's a problem. So.
Yes. Do you deal with the licensed contractors, whoever does the work for that location, or you let the building department handle that?
Building and fire both do. We have our Lee Grosvenor, who is our plans reviewer, and she's also the fire safety manager. She does all the plans reviews for fire to make sure that everybody's fire compliant, meaning the contractors, their licensing, and what they're showing us is compliant to codes now. And the same as Steve Rowland, who's the building official. He reviews the building portion, and he verifies all that information as well.
Okay. That's commercials. Can you give us a little about the residentials, maybe?
Residential, again, comes back to the business license.
Business license?
And basically, we do a one-time inspection and again, they're required to have a fire extinguisher, which is a 3A 40 BC, and we discussed that. They're supposed to have an electrical panel that's labeled and not missing any panels or any breakers.
Right.
And then you have to have a working smoke detector.
Okay.
And that's pretty much it for the business.
Yeah, we'll cover smoke detectors here in a little bit, because that's a pretty big. Daycares, is that a little bit different than a regular business, applying for a business license out of a home?
Yes, they have to meet DCF requirements. They have to meet also fire code and building code as well. If you have a commercial daycare, you are required to have an annual fire inspection. Same thing if you're an assisted living facility, residential and commercial, and even an adult family care home. You're required to have your annual fire inspections, whether you're commercial or residential. And if you're opening up a daycare, commercial, like I said, you have to meet with Lee Grosvenor, the plans, zoning. You have to go through your process. And one thing that we always try with Mike and I when we're out, we try and educate people to let you know that, like he said, before signing your lease, to go through and talk with everybody first, make sure there's no outstanding violations, because you will not be able to open your business until those violations and everything is in compliance. And if you sign a lease and you're in the lease now for a year or two, you might not be able to get out as easily because of what's happened. So we're here to work for the residents and the businesses here in Deltona. We're not here to work against you. So
Thank you. Yeah. Let me see what else we would like to cover.
How about we'll go on to electric here.
Let's go to electric.
Electric, more so in commercial. We do annual inspections of commercial properties. One thing that is not allowed is extension cords. Extension cords are not supposed to be used as permanent wiring, so they're not allowed. We prefer they use surge protectors. A surge protector is it's a long plug-in thing with a surge protector on it, and they come in long cords, so you don't have to plug one into another, which is called daisy chaining. When you plug one surge protector into another, that's considered daisy chaining, and that's not allowed. So they make longer cords on surge protectors now, so you don't have to do that.
Gotcha. The reason I was giggling because we even got inspected not too long ago by Mike, and we were in violation of the department. We fixed it right away, though. We had an extension cord, which is not supposed to be, and I didn't know.
And we also look for frayed cords, or all the cords in surge protectors are UL listed. And a lot of people want to take, before they have the longer cords, to take the surge protector apart and put their own cord so they get a longer cord, and then that takes away the UL listing, and it's invalid. So we check for that, and we check for missing electrical covers for the receptacle covers for the plugs, the face plates. A lot of times those are missing. That's required. In your electrical panel, you have to make sure you have all your breakers. They have to be all labeled in case it's an emergency. You know what to shut off.
Okay. I know we do the International Property Maintenance Code book, and that has it on there. If we see that, a lot of times when we get into rental properties, we see more violations,
Yes.
and we'll address it with the property owner and make sure it comes into compliance. But yeah. What else we would like to cover?
We can cover fire alarms
Fire alarms.
for commercial and residential.
Fire alarms are required in assemblies and daycares and stuff like this.
Is that the smoke detector thing?
No, this is the actual
This
fire
is
alarm.
fire alarm.
Oh, fire alarm, okay.
That we have.
Fire alarms are a notification system which allows the people to be alerted if there's a problem. It gives them time to get out of the building. It does require an annual inspection. The owner is responsible for that. They check the batteries in there and make sure the system works functionally. They check all the strobe horns and devices that are on this system and make sure they're working properly.
And this is only commercial?
Well, daycares have it.
Daycares, okay.
Commercial, a lot of assemblies have them.
Assemblies?
Some schools have them.
Yeah, I do see you a lot at the schools. Okay.
And it's just, like I said, it's a notification to alarm everybody to know that there's something going on, that they need to leave the building.
Do you all coordinate with the school when you do fire drills? Or
Yes.
they're
Yes.
separate? You do?
They're supposed to have one a month. The beginning of the school year, they have two in the first month, and after that, they're supposed to have one a month.
My kids are in the schools, and they get all excited about the fire drills. We got a fire drill. We have to go to our zone.
Yeah.
So it's nice. I'm glad they're doing it. Just to never know,
Yeah.
if something could happen.
And then we also do have fire sprinkler systems that are in buildings in some residential homes. And the fire sprinkler systems are to help contain a fire if there is a fire in a room. And each sprinkler head is to a certain heat setting, the little fusible link that's inside. And that's something that we also do plan reviews, and we also have to do a final inspection on a sprinkler system as well as a fire system, or fire alarm system if it's inside of a commercial or residential.
Like with fire extinguishers, as a homeowner, if you have one, how often should you check it?
It depends if you
You
have...
can visually check it once a month.
Once a month?
But the requirement is once a year to have it recertified. The extinguisher is good for 12 years. Every 6 years, a certified extinguisher company needs to go inside. That means take the neck off and look inside for cracking or any type of peeling from the inside, so it doesn't damage the fire extinguisher. And after 12 years, it's pretty much done.
Pretty much done.
Yeah, fire sprinklers are another system, a safety system, to allows the person or people in the building allowed time to get out. And it will contain a fire. They're rated for what is in the building or in the whole building. In other words, if you have like stocks of piles of tile or whatever, that will require more water, and it'll be set up differently and different ratings on your sprinkler heads and stuff like this.
Okay.
But basically, it's a safety device to help people get out. And most of the time, it contains a fire.
Since we talk about that kind of stuff, smoke alarms. Let's talk about smoke alarms. I know I try to do it, on my birthday. I don't know, I heard somebody tell me that. If you got, change your batteries every year around your birthday. But once in a while, you'll have one battery that doesn't last as long. Pain, to replace
Very
it.
true.
But yeah, but that's my method. I have kids, I'm worried with them all the time. And but what do y'all want to talk about with?
Well, when smoke detector batteries start getting weak or are dead, they give a signal, like a beeping noise.
That's that annoying.
And that's to let you know that the battery is weak and needs to be replaced. And again, usually it's once a year depending on how much power you have in the battery. Again, these smoke detectors are another safety device. It's to alert you at night when you're sleeping there's smoke in the building, and most of the time gives you enough time to get out of the house safely.
There's another type of device, carbon monoxide.
Yes, carbon monoxide is used when they have like a natural, like gas or something like that, what's going to put off carbon monoxide, and it works similar to a smoke detector. It'll go off when the content of the carbon monoxide is too high. And again, it's another safety device to get you out before you overcome, because you never, it's a silent killer. You never know when it's around. When you breathe too much, then it can either injure you very badly or it can kill you.
I know there's a little button on there. How often should you check that, to go off?
Well, probably at least once a month.
Once a month? Okay.
And your smoke alarms also, every 10 years, the manufacturer recommends that you replace them. Anything over 10 years old, they really should be replaced. They do have an ionized and a photoelectric.
Yes.
And the ionized is for more of what they call like the nose. It's like the fire, the smoldering fire. And then the ionized, or the
photocell.
yes, the photoelectric is like the eye. It's for like a flaming type fire. You can get those individual, or they do now come as a combination, and they're both good to have in your home. They do come as a combination now.
Do y'all do a courtesy? Maybe go to, if somebody asks, can you check my house, the alarms of their work? Do y'all do that?
That would be if they're having issues, or if they can't put a smoke alarm up high enough. Usually the fire department will go ahead and help. But you'd have to call the fire department for that to see if they have the availability that day and that time to go check.
Okay. Since we're talking about that, I saw it here as a flyer, the escape planning, just in case there's a fire, right?
Yeah. Every home should have an escape plan, and it's what they call EDITH, exit drills in the home. And it's for all children. You should practice it at least twice a year. Have everybody in your house familiar with it. It's a floor plan of your home. And you should always have two ways out. Two ways out is your front door, your back door would be your primary exits. Your secondary exits would be your bedroom windows. And it's just to ensure that if there's a fire, the kids practice this every year in school. Get low and go, stay out of the smoke.
Stop, drop, and roll.
Stop, drop, and roll. And to check the doors and everything. If there are fires outside, they know to shut the door. Put a little piece of material or something underneath so the smoke doesn't come in. And not to fear the firefighters if they come in. And
right.
Yeah,
the worst thing you want to do is hide from the firefighter. Always before you open a door and you know there's a fire in the house, you always take the back of your hand and touch the door to see if it's hot. If the door is hot, you never open the door.
Oh.
And if you can get out the window, go out a window.
yeah, if you can.
And you always have a designated spot where you're going to meet outside in case somehow you guys get separated.
And as Danny said on the www.nfpa.org, the website, they have all this information on there. They tell you step by step of how to do an escape plan. You could even contact us here, and we have some information we'd be more than happy to share with everybody. For anything pretty much in all fire safety that we have that we can get, or anything that I have or Mike has, we're more than welcome to share with everybody. Because anything that helps the family be safe in their home or in their business makes it easier for us and makes it easier for you guys.
I have one here on young fire setters.
Okay, let me get that one because there's some statistics on here. No, that's okay. Do you have those?
Yeah.
Okay. Juvenile fire setters. There is home fires that are started playing. This is by 2011. This is from NFPA as well. And it says in 2011, U.S. fire departments responded to an estimated 6,700 home structure fires that were started by someone, usually a child, playing with fire. These fires caused 40 civilian deaths, 740 civilian injuries, and $165 million in direct property damage. Usually it's started by playing with matches and lighters. Young children, they're curious, they play with fires. The parents really should take the responsibility of making sure that all their matches and lighters are up high away from their children. Lockbox if you have to. Keep everything smoking. Also if you're smoking in the house, make sure you use an ashtray that's stable, it's not flimsy. Smoking would be best outside the house if possible so you don't catch anything on fires, the curtains.
Most children at a young age are curious of it, and When I was younger, I had a younger brother who was playing with a lighter, and he caught our closet on fire. And before the fire department got there, it almost went through the roof. And it was we were out of the house for almost 4 months and about $10,000 worth of damage back, and that was back in the early '60s. You got to stay on top of the children. I mean, they're fast when they do stuff. They don't realize what happens until they use it, and then everything gets out of control. Again, like Lisa said, is keep everything out of the way and keep everybody safe.
Education is very important.
Yes.
Not just adults, but the children. Definitely children when it has to do with stuff around the house, with safety, even outside.
And we do have a program set up. It's called the Fire Setters, and that takes through, kind of handles the people that start, our young children that have started more than one fire and caused damage, or people got injured. And it puts it through a whole program, which is very good. And Lisa handles that for our department and does a very nice job.
And it's free of charge. There's no charge, but the parents do have to attend with the children. And it's like about a 3-hour program. It's educational for the parents. So even if your child, you found them just outside just playing, lighting a match, you know, contact us. We'll work through a program depending on the age. Or if they have started a fire, they've put it out, even if the fire department hasn't gotten involved. Still call us and let us know, because we can kind of help you. If not, maybe give you direction. And if we're not able to, we're able to kind of help you and give you a direction of who to contact, as in the schools, the counselor, the principal, and we can get you help.
Awesome. I'm glad that program's available. I didn't know.
A lot of people don't know.
Yeah, just reach out to us at City Hall. That's where we're located at, and we can get you in that class or program. What else you want to cover?
Generators.
Generators?
Yep.
Generator safety. Go ahead.
Generators are unique, all of them by themselves. Again, the fuel coming off causes carbon monoxide. Again, people seem to want to put them in the garages, like we have hurricanes, because they're afraid someone's going to steal them. What's the worst thing you can do? Because again, carbon monoxide is a silent killer. You should always have well-ventilated areas when you have a generator and you're running the generator. You should always shut the generator off when it runs out of fuel and let it sit for a little bit before you're refueling, and always have the proper gas container and stuff that for filling.
I'll just add back. A couple of years ago, it's almost been 10 years now. 2004, we had 3 hurricanes back to back. Boy, all I heard was generators, because sure enough, there was no power to majority of the city at one point, and carbon monoxide was an issue at that time.
The fire department had a lot of calls for generators. And if you do use a generator, even a gas grill in your home, you should really have a carbon monoxide detector in your home to help with detecting if anything comes in. And always remember, too, to keep the exhaust away from your windows. Don't put it on your back porch. Put it outside, chain it to a tree, put it on a little concrete form that you can chain it to. So it's outside. Don't keep it inside your house. Don't keep it on your back porch. They're very dangerous. Very good, but very dangerous.
And always don't do any smoking or any open flames when you're working with a generator or gas. Always use the proper size cords for your equipment that you're running to make sure that you don't overheat the cords.
Clothes dryers.
Yeah.
Another big fire that we have nowadays too is also clothes dryers. Make sure you clean your lint. Like every time you dry load, take it out and clean your lint. Make sure it's always clean. If you use the fabric sheets, make sure that your your lint screen that you have is also clean. Run it under water. If you see your water beading it, just wipe it lightly with a very mild soap and water. Dry it real good and then put it back in. It also helps with the energy efficiency also in your dryer.
As a career firefighter, we had quite a few dryer fires, because what happens is what they'll do is they'll hook up the exhaust for the dryer, and a lot of times it'll be kinked and it'll back up with lint in there, and that's where the fire will start. And you need to make sure those are nice and straight, no kinks. Make sure it goes right out to the outside for exhaust.
Yeah, just for example, my dryer just stopped working. So time to replace a dryer, and my wife's really clean. But when I got back there behind where the exhaust is, I didn't think it was so much clogged up. And then I just wound up going to the roof where the exit comes out, and
Mm-hmm.
that was clogged up also. I mean, it was only 4 months
Yeah.
that we had just checked it, and it didn't take that long to get it all.
It doesn't take long
does
at
not take
all.
long. This will be the last thing we cover. Oxygen safety, medical oxygen in the homes.
One thing with oxygen, of course, oxygen is needed to start a fire. A lot of people smoke while they're doing oxygen, and what happens is over the time, oxygen will saturate the house and saturate the clothes that the person is wearing. And one thing you have to be careful of is igniting anything around an oxygenated place of a home or whatever.
Okay. I do, when I've come to a couple of houses that I know there's usually a posting on the front door that, is that required, or is just for information of everybody that comes to the house?
That would be more of just a safety
Yeah,
issue.
probably a safety issue, yeah.
I'm glad they had that. But yeah, well, pretty much, thank you for coming today and
you.
being my special guest and covering of safeties around the home. But if you do have any questions, give us a call. These guys are there. They're here here at City Hall. They can answer any of your questions. Our number will probably be posted on this, but it's 386-878-8100. That's the City Hall main number, and they can transfer you to whichever department you want to get transferred to. So thanks again.
Thank you.
For being here.
Yep, thank you.